Imagine yourself strolling through the ancient streets of Jerusalem, where kings once ruled and great battles took place. Beneath your feet, hidden beneath layers of stone and dust, lies a secret, a mystery thousands of years old. Some say it's just a legend. Others believe it holds the key to one of the greatest stories in the Bible. But what if it were real? This novel isn't just a story about the past. It's about a real discovery that has left archaeologists stunned and historians scrambling for answers. Over 100 years ago, a determined archaeologist named Raymond Weil set out on a daring mission to find the lost tomb of King David. He wasn't just guessing. He was following a treasure map, but not the kind with pirate symbols and buried gold. This map was ancient, written not on parchment, but in the pages of the Bible. For centuries, people have wondered where King David was buried. The Bible gives us a clue. In 1 Kings 2:10, it states, "Then David rested with his ancestors and was buried in the city of David." Find the city of David and you'll find the tomb. However, a challenge arose. The ancient city had undergone multiple constructions. Layers of history had buried its secrets deep underground. Raymond Weil, a Jewish archaeologist, believed the Bible wasn't just a book of faith, it was a historical guide. He carefully studied the verses, cross-referencing them with ancient maps, and made an astonishing conclusion. If the Bible was right, then David's tomb should be somewhere in the oldest part of Jerusalem. So, in 1913, he packed his bags, gathered a team, and set off to dig into the earth, hoping to unearth a long-lost royal tomb. What he found was far beyond what anyone had imagined. Weil arrived in Jerusalem at a time when the city was still under the rule of the Ottoman Empire. He started his search in the area known as the City of David, an 11-acre stretch of land that had long been considered the original heart of Jerusalem. Using the Bible as his guide, he identified a section of the city that fit another key passage, Nehemiah 3:15-16, which described repairs to the city walls near the tombs of David. The process was slow and grueling. Over 200 men and 30 donkeys worked to remove the layers of soil and rock. They had no modern excavation tools, just shovels, picks, and sheer determination. Every day, they inched closer to what Weil believed was the greatest archaeological discovery of his time. Then, after months of digging, they found it. Hidden beneath the earth, carved into solid bedrock, was a series of massive tombs. The tombs, situated deep underground, had remained untouched for centuries. The walls were rough, the entrance narrow, but the design was unmistakable. These were no ordinary graves. They were royal tombs meant for kings, and one of them was larger, more elaborate, and more carefully built than the others. Well called it Tomb 1, but many believed it could be something more, the final resting place of King David. But here's where things get even stranger. The tombs had been severely damaged. Centuries of war, conquest, and city expansion had left their mark. Even more puzzling, David's remains were nowhere to be found. What Weil found in 1913 should have been one of the greatest archaeological breakthroughs in history. Over the years, the discovery has been overshadowed by political conflicts, religious debates, and skepticism. Today, modern archaeologists are using advanced technology, ground-penetrating radar, 3D scans, and DNA testing to uncover new evidence. Some believe that hidden beneath the ruins of Old Jerusalem, a secret chamber may still exist, one that holds the final proof of David's burial. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. For centuries, the Bible has served as both a spiritual and historical guide, detailing the events that shaped civilizations. The mention of King David's burial site in 1 Kings 2:10 pointed to a location within the city of David. While followed this ancient text with precision, digging into the earth with unwavering belief. He found more than a tomb, a beautiful, precise structure that could only belong to a royal. Whilst discovery was no accident, his research led him to an area described in Nehemiah 3:15-16, where the reconstruction of the city's walls referenced the tombs of David. The excavation revealed a series of 9 burial chambers carved deep into the rock. Among them, one stood out, a massive chamber, carefully constructed, separate from the rest. The size and architectural complexity suggested it was not an ordinary grave. The structure was a tomb meant for a king. The tomb, however, was empty. There were no remains, no bones, and no artifacts of personal belonging. The structure was there, but the body of Israel's greatest king was missing. Throughout history, kings were buried with great care, their final resting places treated with the highest level of security. Yet, this chamber bore marks of disturbance. Theories surfaced that grave robbers had raided the site long ago, taking with them whatever treasures once lay inside. Others conjectured that David's descendants had moved his body to an undisclosed location to shield it from desecration. The fate of King David's remains is one of history's greatest unanswered mysteries. Emperor Hadrian's reconstruction of Jerusalem in the 2nd century AD left lasting scars on the city's ancient landscape. Roman destruction in 70 AD erased many sacred Jewish sites, replacing them with Roman temples and fortifications. Some believe that David's tomb was intentionally concealed or destroyed during this period, erased from history to weaken the connection between the Jewish people and their ancestral kings. Modern archaeology has attempted to revisit Wilde's discovery, but political and religious tensions surrounding excavation in Jerusalem have often stalled or prevented further research. Technology now offers methods that were unavailable in Wilde's time. Ground-penetrating radar has uncovered additional underground chambers beneath the city of David, revealing hidden spaces that remain unexplored. These findings indicate the possibility of uncovering more of the burial complex beneath the modern city. The scientific community remains divided. Some argue that the Bible, while historically valuable, is not a precise map to ancient ruins. Others maintain that Wilde's discovery closely matches the descriptions of David's burial place, making it impossible to ignore. DNA analysis of bones found in other parts of the city of David has helped establish the presence of an elite ruling class buried within its walls, reinforcing the idea that the tomb of a great king could be hidden within reach. Stories have circulated over the years, suggesting the removal of ancient artifacts and inscriptions from the site and their concealment from public knowledge. If these objects exist, they could provide undeniable proof of David's resting place. Yet, no official records confirm their existence, leaving the truth shrouded in secrecy. Political and religious groups have long held a stake in the discoveries made beneath Jerusalem. Excavating further could ignite tensions, disrupt sacred sites, or challenge long-held beliefs. Some fear that revealing the full truth of King David's tomb could spark conflicts over the ownership and significance of the site. The balance between historical discovery and the preservation of peace remains delicate. By October 24, 1913, Weil arrived in Jerusalem under the rule of the Ottoman Empire. His first task was to map out the city, identifying key areas where ancient ruins might still be preserved beneath the surface. He focused his efforts on an 11-acre area believed to be the true heart of the ancient city. With a team of 200 laborers and 30 donkeys, Weil's excavation began in earnest in January 1914. Unlike modern archaeological methods, which rely on precision tools and advanced imaging technology, his team worked with pickaxes, shovels, and sheer determination. Day after day, layers of limestone, sand, and debris were removed, revealing structures unseen for centuries. Beneath the rubble, Weil's team uncovered a series of large burial chambers cut into solid rock. These tombs were distinct from ordinary graves. They were monumental, carefully crafted, and built for figures of immense importance. They were unlike anything previously discovered in Jerusalem. Among them, one tomb stood out. It was larger, deeper, and more elaborate than the others. Its craftsmanship suggested it was designed for someone of extraordinary status, perhaps even royalty. Weil referred to this chamber as Tomb 1. The architecture was unlike typical burial sites of the period. Instead of a communal resting place, as was customary for noble families, this was a singular tomb, designed for one person. The chamber was spacious, featuring a high-ceiling tunnel leading to a carved sarcophagus trough, an excavation designed to house a body in a resting position. This was a major deviation from traditional burials, reinforcing the idea that the occupant was a ruler, not a common citizen. This discovery aligned perfectly with the biblical descriptions of King David's burial. According to ancient Jewish law, burials inside city walls were forbidden, except for royalty. David, as the founding king of Jerusalem, would have been one of the few exceptions to this rule. This tomb, located within the heart of the city of David, fit the criteria precisely. Some speculated that grave robbers had looted the site centuries ago, taking not only valuables, but also the king's remains. Others theorized that the tomb was deliberately emptied, that David's body had been secretly moved to prevent desecration. Despite the missing remains, Weil's findings sparked global fascination. His report documented 9 tombs, all sharing similar characteristics, but none as grand as Tomb 1. His conclusion was clear. This was the closest physical evidence ever found that aligned with the biblical narrative of David's burial. The excavation site, however, would not remain open for long. Political instability in the region, combined with World War I, halted further investigations. The once promising discovery faded into obscurity, buried not only beneath Jerusalem's ruins, but also under the weight of history's shifting tides. Decades later, when archaeologists attempted to revisit Weil's work, they found that much of the site had been damaged, repurposed, or made inaccessible due to modern construction. The physical evidence was slipping away, leaving behind only records, photographs, and the lingering questions of what could have been found if the excavation had continued. While many dismissed the site as inconclusive, others remained convinced that Weil had been on the verge of something far greater than he ever realized. Advances in ground-penetrating radar have since detected anomalies beneath the city of David, indicating hidden chambers yet to be explored. Some researchers speculate that layers of rock and time may conceal the real tomb of David even deeper. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. King David remains one of the most extraordinary figures in history, shaping the destiny of Israel through his military conquests, political leadership, and spiritual devotion. His life unfolded in an era of war, shifting power, and divine intervention. Rising from humble beginnings as a shepherd, he became Israel's greatest warrior and ruler, leaving a legacy that shaped generations. Born around 1040 BCE in Bethlehem, David was the youngest son of Jesse. His early years were spent tending sheep, an occupation that provided him with solitude and a deep sense of connection to the land. The wilderness became his training ground, where he developed exceptional skill with a sling, a weapon that would later define his legend. His life changed when the prophet Samuel, guided by divine instruction, anointed him as a future king of Israel. God had lost favor with Saul, the ruling king, and had chosen him to lead the nation. The first moment that propelled him into the public eye was his victory over Goliath. The Philistines, Israel's longtime enemies, had sent their champion, a towering warrior clad in heavy armor, to challenge the Israelites. While experienced soldiers cowered, he, armed only with a sling and 5 smooth stones, stepped forward. With unmatched precision, he launched a stone into Goliath's forehead, killing him instantly. The victory electrified the nation and marked the beginning of David's rise to prominence. Following his victory, he was welcomed into King Saul's court. Initially, he served as both a musician and a warrior, gaining favor with the king and the people. His battlefield successes made him a hero, but they also incited Saul's growing jealousy. The people praised his victories in songs, celebrating his prowess beyond that of Saul. Fearful of losing his throne, Saul attempted to eliminate David multiple times. Forced to flee, he spent years as an outlaw, gathering loyal followers while evading the king's forces. Despite the persecution, he never sought revenge against Saul. Even when given the opportunity, he refused to harm the anointed king, believing that divine justice would prevail. Eventually, Saul perished in battle against the Philistines, and David assumed the throne. His reign began in Hebron, where he ruled over Judah for 7 years, before uniting the entire kingdom of Israel under his leadership. One of his greatest achievements was the capture of Jerusalem. The city, controlled by the Jebusites, was heavily fortified and thought to be impenetrable. Undeterred, he led his forces in a daring assault, using secret water tunnels to infiltrate the city. His victory established Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, a decision that shaped the identity of the Jewish people for centuries. The city became the political and religious center of the kingdom, and he brought the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, symbolizing the presence of God among his people. As king, David expanded Israel's borders through military conquests. He subdued the Philistines, defeated the Moabites, and extended Israel's territory into Edom, Ammon, and Aram. His leadership transformed Israel into a dominant power in the region. His strategic brilliance and ability to unite warring factions under his rule solidified his reputation as an unparalleled leader. Despite his triumphs, David's reign was marked by personal failures and turmoil. His greatest moral failing came in the affair with Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. After seeing her bathing from his palace rooftop, he sought her out, leading to an affair that resulted in her pregnancy. To conceal his actions, he ordered Uriah to the front lines of battle, ensuring his death. The prophet Nathan confronted David, delivering a scathing rebuke that led to his heartfelt repentance. Though forgiven, the consequences of his actions haunted his family. Tragedy struck his household repeatedly. His son Amnon committed a terrible act against his half-sister Tamar, leading to Amnon's assassination by his brother Absalom. Absalom, consumed by ambition, staged a rebellion against David, forcing the king to flee Jerusalem. The conflict culminated in Absalom's death, leaving David devastated. The loss of his sons and the division within his kingdom reflected the heavy burden of his earlier sins. He ruled Israel for 40 years, overseeing a period of expansion and prosperity. As he aged, the question of succession arose. His sons vied for power, leading to internal struggles. Ultimately, Solomon, the son of Bathsheba, was chosen as his successor. Before his death, David instructed Solomon to follow God's commandments and to rule with wisdom. Solomon's reign would later be marked by the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem, fulfilling David's dream of building a permanent place for worship. Even after his death, David's influence endured. His lineage became central to Jewish and Christian traditions, with prophecies declaring that the Messiah would come from his bloodline. In later centuries, David's name became synonymous with kingship, resilience, and divine favor. His tomb, believed to be in Jerusalem, has been a site of pilgrimage and mystery, with archaeologists and historians seeking definitive evidence of its location. If you're enjoying this story, consider clicking Super Thanks. Your support helps us uncover more hidden histories and ancient mysteries like this one. David's life was a blend of triumph and tragedy, heroism and failure. His story is one of power, redemption, and unwavering faith. A warrior, a poet, and a ruler, his legacy shaped the identity of a people and left an indelible mark on history. His name remains one of the most revered in ancient and religious history, symbolizing the enduring nature of faith and leadership. The echoes of King David's reign still resonate through time, shaping history, faith, and archaeology. His life was a tapestry woven with moments of courage, wisdom, and personal failure, leaving behind a legacy that continues to captivate scholars, theologians, and historians. His story is not just one of conquest and rule. It is a narrative of human resilience, divine favor, and the enduring search for truth. The tomb that Raymond Weil uncovered in 1914 remains one of the most debated archaeological discoveries. The empty chamber, carved into the bedrock of ancient Jerusalem, stands as a silent enigma, inviting speculation and wonder. Some argue that it was indeed the final resting place of Israel's greatest king, while others dismiss it as one of many royal burial sites from the period. The absence of definitive proof has fueled generations of research, yet the site remains shrouded in mystery. Jerusalem, a city layered with centuries of history, has kept many of its secrets well hidden. Over time, political upheaval, religious restrictions, and modern construction have made it increasingly difficult to access and investigate sites of historical significance. The possibility that King David's remains were deliberately removed or destroyed only adds to the uncertainty surrounding his final resting place. What is undeniable is the influence he left behind, an influence so profound that his name continues to define leadership and divine promise. His influence extends far beyond the borders of ancient Israel. Prayers, scriptures, and historical records invoke his name as a foundational figure in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. His psalms continue to inspire, His conquests are studied for their military brilliance, and his trials serve as reminders of the complexities of power and morality. The throne he established gave rise to a dynasty that shapes the future of an entire people, and the promise of a Messiah from his lineage remains a cornerstone of faith for millions. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.